try the Zoom feed.
Okay, she's good.
Are we good? Yes, we are. So let's welcome to the show here on Monday at 7:09 on the link, The Breeze 93.9, Governor Lou Leon Guerrero. Good morning, Gov.
Good morning, Gov.
Good morning, Chris.
Oh, wonderful.
Can you hear me?
We can hear you loud and clear.
Yes, definitely. Very loud and
That's a
very
nice
clear.
mask.
Wow, nice mask,
Yeah.
Gov, first of all.
Wow. So make it fashion.
Wear a mask would make it. So where'd you get your mask first of all, Gov?
Well, nowadays, you say, okay, I'm put on my clothes, put on my shoes, and then I'll put on my mask. It's part of the attire of
Right,
people
yeah,
now.
Right.
Gotta make it match and everything. You coordinate.
Gov, thanks for joining us. Really, we just wanted to get you on the show and give you the floor. I know there's just a bunch of stuff that we want to catch up with you on, but first we'll give you the opportunity to let you tell us what you think is most important for the people of Guam to know on this Monday morning, Gov. So go ahead.
Sure. So just to let the people know that we are still in public health emergency, of course. We are on PCOR 3. We've been for PCOR 3 like maybe 8 days to 2 weeks. We're still doing really good with our containment of our virus, and hospitalization remains stable. We've just now, I think, went down from a 5 to a 3 census of COVID. None are ICU patients, so that's a good sign. Everything that we are measuring, everything that we are using as metrics to assure safety in the island is within our favor. And so we continue to be very adamant, Chris, about mask, social distancing. And if you don't have to be out, don't be out. We want to really make sure that we can solidify and, strengthen our ability, which we are, to contain this virus.
All right. Thanks, Gov, for the update. I wanted to ask about the homeless shelter. And I know we're on week 4. When we spoke and we visited the global dorm a couple of weeks ago, they were mentioning how, it is temporary, which you've said from the beginning. But they're concerned that they're going to be just kicked out because they haven't received all of the wraparound services that they thought they were going to be receiving. Are we going to see an extension for that particular facility? Or have we signed any other contracts for other homeless shelters?
This facility that we're using is just a temporary facility. It's to hold people over, and our plan is to go into a transition form and have a more permanent housing. What we're doing, it's a whole complicated thing. It doesn't happen right overnight. This homelessness issue has been a problem. There's a lot of complicated reasons why people are homeless. And we're trying to get as much as we can of a wrap-around service that we have contracted with Catholic Social Service to provide those needs. Of course, the end result here, Sabrina, is to reconnect people with their families. It's to also put them in a situation where they can provide for themselves. We are working towards that. We are putting funds and resources to the Mayor's Council, who is going to be in charge by opening and creating their Office of the Homeland, and the Office of the Homeless Assistance, and I think Poverty. And we have put money there. I also am looking at giving stipends for the homeless to go out and, start either cleaning parks, pulling down weeds, things like that we can say to them, hey, here is some a stipend for that work, and set them out in a good start to providing income.
Yeah, we did speak with Sinahania Mayor Robert Hoffman with the OHAP, and he did talk about the stipends, but I just wanted to just clear up whether or not, because the homeless shelter, the global dorm, it is for 30 days. He said that it would be up to you to sign a contract whether or not to extend it for the 70 or so individuals and 14 children that are up at in Mighty. Are they going to
Right.
be kicked out, or there's
Absolutely.
there?
Absolutely. We have, well, I guess we did the contract initially just to get it going, but we are going to continue.
Okay.
It's senseless, right? To work and have all this effort just for 30 days and it's okay, you guys got to go back
Yeah.
to your homeless situation.
See ya.
That is total irresponsibility on our part, and I think initially we did this so we can get ourselves going.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, we are looking for other places
Right,
because 77, I think, or 71
Mm-hmm.
isn't enough. There's still a lot of homeless in the Tumon area. And still here in Hagatna. So we've started this program. We are going to continue this program. This is going to be a reliable program and resource for our homeless. And I just want to make sure that we work towards making this a temporary solution because the goal, like I said, is to reconnect them. The goal is to provide them with the means and the tools and the skills so they can become once again productive members of our society and have an income and have their own homes. Of course, there are those that have mental health issues and much more maybe social issues that we need to, of course, bring in public health, mental health. There's an interagency council that also the lieutenant governor has established, and he's met with them, and these are the interagency councils that would work together to provide that wraparound service for our people.
Gov, we had former Governor Carl Gutierrez on last week, and he had talked about housing some of the Tumon homeless in a facility. I think he mentioned the Tamuning area. Can you give us any info on the procurement of that facility, if it's already been procured?
That is ongoing.
Okay.
I think GSA is trying to do their procedures and whatever protocols that they need to do to follow the rules and regulations. That's a place. But I also wanted to say that we also have an inventory through the Guam Housing Corporation of homes that are abandoned, and so what that is in their inventory of assets, and so we are going to renovate those, and that is like one of the more permanent homes for our homeless.
Schools are getting ready to start, and I think some even private schools are starting today or
Right, yep.
right today or this week. Tell me about like the monitoring that the Physicians Advisory Group and Public Health is as well as your office are doing right now as school starts.
For the school opening.
Yeah,
Right, yeah.
because some schools have started already. I think FD starts.
Right.
Yeah.
So the public health issues the guidelines, and the schools are required to submit their guidelines of social distancing. A lot of it, of course, is self-policing. A lot of it is coming from responsibility. But the public health will be going out to looking at their process of complying with their social distancing and mask and so forth. It's a big debate whether to open or not. Sabrina, you hear the debates nationwide. Also here, the superintendent tells me that when the public schools registered, they received like 19,000 registration forms.
Right.
65% of that parents want at-home schooling. So there's still that also options that the public schools are looking at. And so, I think we need to take it very slowly, and we need to monitor it very closely. And we are working with the school officials to make sure that they are aware of what the symptoms are with children and have their protocol of what to do when they incur a positive case.
Gov, if we could touch on the budget, I know that there's been a whole back and forth about the budget that's before the Guam legislature. I mean, we had your policy director Carlo going head to head in a really heated. It was a great, actually, heated exchange with the Republican Party chair of Guam. So, if you could, Governor, I know that I saw that Lester and Senator San Augustine, the finance chair, are kind of working on some revisions to that $1 billion budget. So if you could just maybe speak a little more to the budget, the process, and any revisions that may be coming down from Adelup.
Sure. So we have been working very closely, like you said, with the Office of Finance Budget in the legislature. We're really tracking our collections and our revenues, and making some very, I think, calculated and reliable projections. And we're at this point now of agreeing or negotiating what revenues to accept. And so they're almost there. We are almost there, Chris. And once the revenues are accepted, then we will look at the various detailed budgets to make sure that we are within budget. I just wanted to comment, though, about some of the discussions that Senator Ada and Carlo had, and it's primarily over the economy. And I don't believe and agree with Senator Ada's description of we are dead. And you can see that out there when you travel. When we closed the essential or non-essential businesses, we remained a lot of the businesses. We allowed hardware stores, we allowed the grocery stores, we allowed the construction industry. Basically, a lot of our businesses continued on. And the tourism industry, yes, is a serious problem. The tourist industry is basically zero. And that is something that we are working very aggressively with the markets in the various industry that come to our island. We are also more of concern about making sure our community is safe. Right now, our community, like I said, is contained the virus. And we are working at having a balanced protocol so that tourism can start coming. But I just want to make sure that you are aware and the public is aware that the tourists really themselves closed their travel to Guam. The Japan doesn't allow, or they're in a level 3 travel alert, which means they are discouraging traveling off of Japan. So is South Korea, and so is Taiwan. So the countries themselves have to be able to open their borders before we can see a robust tourist activity here, because tourists are deterred from traveling because they have to go back quarantined. So that's a bit of a deterrence for them. And that's something that I think we'll eventually be seeing as lifted off once the world, and I don't know when that will happen, but because you've seen it, Japan opened, they lifted their public health, they opened domestic travel, and now it's surging. The countrysides are very concerned and very upset that travel is allowed from the metropolitan area over to the countryside. And they're working very hard to contain again, and they may go back to, again, putting some severe restrictions to abide from that. But I do also would like to again remind our people that although tourist dollars are not in our island, Our economy is also backed by local and federal government spending and also military spending. And you've heard me say this. We have over $1.6 billion of potential revenues coming into our island. So far, we have seen over $634 million pumped into our island in various mediums, through economic stimulus program, to our pandemic unemployment benefits program, through our PPP loans, through our economic disaster loan programs, through our program Salapi, SBA grants. We've increased the SNAP eligibility so more people can be qualified for it. We've also increased, through work with the White House, through our work with the White House, we have raised the Medicaid from 18 million to 127 million at a 13% match. That's I think amazing.
Right.
That is something we have been fighting for, although I would prefer no caps at all and be calculated like all the other states. But there are many federal aids and programs that is in our community, and I can also see it, how it's helping our community. I can see it in the collections. Income tax collected, withholding tax collected. Yes, BPT has gone down, but it's starting to balance out in terms of shortfall. That I think by the end of this fiscal year, Chris, we look to maybe have anywhere from $4 to $8 million shortfall. So I think what the Republican chair was painting isn't what the reality is. And I know they've accused me of being putting up a facade. Listen, there's no room here for facade. There isn't. We're dealing and talking about people's lives here. And we are responsible elected officials that they have entrusted their trust to us. We are accountable, and we are real. We are practical, and it's reality.
Wow.
There's no facade.
Gov, I like that. Your facade, huh? Oh, Tony, there's facade. Todd's that facade, Guini, boy. Todd's that facade, Guini. Gov, if you could, how about that congressional race? How about that congressional race in the Democratic primary?
Yeah, there's a familiar logo on on Robert Underwood's campaign.
I noticed you got you guys' check mark in there. But if you could, this is.
You know, I haven't even seen his logo. I'm sorry. I've seen. By the way, I just want to mention this. You know, the National Women's Suffrage. You know what their logo says? We're in. Are you?
Yeah, day. Trademark.
Yeah. Anyway, no, I have not seen his logo. I think it's going to be a very interesting congressional campaign. I think there's some good debate that I'm looking forward to, and former Congressman Underwood has started. I haven't seen much with Congressman Mike San Nicolas. I don't even know if he's on island, but I'm pretty sure as the time comes closer that there's going to be some serious debates, and I would encourage our people of Guam to listen to their issues, listen to what they want to do, and decide of who you think is going to, best represent us in Congress. It's very important. As you can see, there's been a lot of relationships here. I get on a telephone call with the vice president, and sometimes the president's there, but all their key cabinet members, Dr. Fauci, Dr. Birx, Mr. Fielding, I think is his name, HHS, FEMA is there, and they give us updates and they give us what is coming down the pipes, and it's an opportunity to also discuss issues there. But that is going to be a very
It's gonna be a hot one.
interesting
Have,
debate.
Right.
have you spoken? When's the last time you actually spoke, whether it was on the phone, well, definitely not face to face, with Congressman Michael San Nicolas?
It was when at the State of the Island address.
You're kidding me.
When he was
not
there?
not anything during this COVID crisis? You haven't had a conversation?
No, no.
Gov, one of the things that because I've been paying attention.
Have you tried?
that-
Sorry, I'm just like
Yeah, no, that's
flabbergasted.
that brings me to my next question, Gov. And your former Congressman Underwood's campaign, he's really raising the issue that we need to work collaboratively with the congressional office. And if you could, Gov, because we all know that the working relationship between you and Congressman San Nicolas, I mean, it's virtually non-existent, right? So how much do you think our island could benefit from a scenario where we're able to
Work together.
dialogue with our congressman? We, are able to talk to him, maybe weekly, even. How much would that change the complexion of what we're trying to do in Washington D.C.? Because it kind of seems that you're just off trying to make things happen, and we don't have that assistance that we need, that cooperation.
Not
from
trying. She is making things
Yeah.
happen
No,
without
I mean,
without his help.
I know, that's what I mean. So how different would it be if you did have that help?
First of all, I think the relationship the relationship is what it is, and it's not because I have not been trying, Chris. I've been trying very diligently to try and communicate with the congressman, but efforts are, not successful, and things have to be done. And so I decided to work my way through not just Congress with people that we are familiar with, and also using the resource that I know in DC that would help move our agenda. And I'll tell you, former Congresswoman Madeline Berdaglia has been very instrumental in the stuff that I have been moving forward, particularly the Medicaid. She has a very close friendship with Speaker Pelosi. And when I was there, I met with Speaker Pelosi and told her about our issue with the Medicaid. So, you look at what opportunities do you have? Well, okay, you can't do this one for whatever reason. Let's look at other options and other ways so that we can get our agenda moving in federal. So you asked me, is it very important? Absolutely very important. We need to have a united voice in DC, through Congress, through the White House, even through political parties. We need to be saying the same things. And we haven't. Which is a very unfortunate situation, I think, for our people.
Yeah, Gov, I had went back and I had watched, and I'm sure you remember this, when Congressman San Nicolas went to Adelup for a meeting you had called, and this was to discuss the local war claims effort and its impact, which was later determined to be non-existent on HR 1365. But I went back last week and I watched that whole exchange, and it really took me back to that period in time where Congressman San Nicolas was just so hell-bent on creating this narrative that what you were trying to do, which, I mean, we don't agree a lot of times, Gov, but I totally was 1,000% behind trying to pay our Monomco War survivors as soon as we could. And Congressman San Nicolas had floated around this narrative that the local 181 effort would kill HR 1365, that people in D.C. were concerned that the local government was trying to do this while we were trying to move 1365 through the federal channels. But all of that turned out to be total nonsense. But I just was taken back to the negative energy that the congressman, that his social media trolls had really put out in pushing this narrative that at the end of the day turned out to be totally false. But in watching the tone of the exchange with you and Congressman San Nicolas, one of the things that was consistent was that you had said, and I God, it was like 20, 30 times, that you'll continue to support 1365 no matter what. So when you go back and you say that the relationship is what it is, but not for a lack of trying on your end, I have to agree, because I went back and I watched it and I saw that you were saying, hey, like you said, now we got to have that one voice. So I think it's interesting that maybe Congressman San Nicolas has kind of lost sight of what his role as the representative to the federal government. And I think that's what it is he is our representative to the federal government. He is not the federal government's representative to us. And it's so simple that I don't understand why that has just kind of colored the whole relationship for this entire term, unfortunately.
I ask myself that, why? Why is it that he's not working with us? I ask myself that. I just cannot find an answer, because it's for the good of our people. And I was very confident in this law reparations, Chris, because we were working with the key people in Treasury that would make that happen. They're the ones that were working with us, saying, you need to do this legislation. Once you do this legislation, it won't be a problem. So we've been communicating with the key people at U.S. Treasury. Once we did it and it was passed, you saw how quickly we were able to pay out those war reparations. And they've reimbursed us for those monies already. And I hear they're continuing paying on. So the other thing now is that there are many of our manamcos, Chris, that did not register, or they thought they registered but didn't register to the right agency or entity, so they're not registered and they're not on the list. So I know the speaker is trying to open up again that opportunity through Congress, and is trying to work with the congressman to do that, but he's also not very cooperative with that agenda also. I just also have to say, Chris, that our Congress representative, like I said, needs to be united with our administration here, and we need to say the same things, unified. It's very key, because they don't have any, Congress over there has no exposure to Guam other than what your representative is saying, or if we write letters to them and let them know what's going on. And a prime example is his testimony during a hearing under Senator Lisa Murkowski, where he totally threw our government under the bus when he talked about how we're misusing the federal dollars that were being given here. I had to write a letter to Senator Murkowski the next day, gave her our budget of the money, and explained to her what we have done with the money. And in comparison to all the other states, we have used our money much more than most of the states. And we've used it to put money in the hands of our people. And we have been accountable. We have been transparent. You see our CRER every month. We're open. We are an open book to the people of Guam. And he's totally said we were not transparent. We weren't using the monies correctly. And, it's not a good reputation for us over in Congress and in DC. You saw what happened to Puerto Rico, and so it's just very bothersome. And what happens is then our efforts to help our people becomes very much delayed.
Well, we feel you because we haven't been able to get any sort of response or interview with the congressman.
And it's unfortunate, because we would totally, we would put him on. I mean, we say this all the time. Just respond. We put you on. I mean, Anyway.
Yeah. So anyway, aside from Congressman Michael San Nicolas, good luck to him in the August primary. But I wanted to follow up on some things from our viewers and from people that have reached out to us and their concerns about the government quarantine facility, specifically their conditions. We had Donna on our show,
Donna, Nadine.
and Nadine last week, and they were really just so upset with just the cleanliness of the facility over at
It was
the
Wyndham
Garden?
Garden, Gov, and there was like hairs and the carpet was
mold
it
on
was
the
just
towels.
really bad.
And it was something that Dr. Hoa Win had, when we had him on the show, he said, yes, it was issues that were brought up during one of their PAG meetings. And so...
Right. So we are aware, and of course, our quarantine facilities need to be clean, and they need to provide the basic necessities of the individual there for 14 days. And one of the things that, because the facility is now under the purview of the National Guard, what the Adjutant General has insisted and mandated is that before the rooms are given out to the people, that they get inspected before it's released and said that it's clean. And if it's not, they will have to redo it again. The cleaning and so forth is the responsibility of the vendor, and we are going to put them to task and make sure that it does occur.
Okay.
All right. Govin, are we ready to close it out?
Yeah, I mean, I could actually go on and on, but I know you've got a busy schedule today, so I don't want to.
In closing, is there anything you want to put out? And we'd love to just have you on. I know weekly might be a stretch for you because you're busy, but we'd love for you to be a regular feature on the show, just for our listeners. They love hearing from you.
Thank you. And thank you for the opportunity, Chris and Sabrina, to have me on. I just want to say that if there is any information that you or your KUAM need, please let us know. We will definitely make sure we give you the accurate information so that you can inform our people. I also would like to thank you for your educational awareness on masks and social distancing, and ask that you continue on, and let's not be complacent just because we are opening and lifting restrictions. I also want to assure the people of Guam that we are very much making the safety of our health and our people a priority, but we are also working towards bringing our economic health into a much more healthy situation, and of course making sure that when tourists start coming, that we are also protecting our community and also protecting our visitors. And just to say that the financial aid again that you have in your hands are ways that will continue bridging our economy and our revenue, so we can continue to provide the services, safety, health, education, and move along to try and get to a normal life, as normal as we can be, with the of course the acknowledgement and the recognition of this coronavirus. So it's now been 5 months. I think this will continue on till who knows, but I'm looking maybe by the end of this year that we may have some better news about tourism and better activities for our economy. But I appreciate the struggle and the patience that our people have, and to please just continue on being safe and being mindful of the protection of our neighbors, our family, our friends, and also our community. We have done an amazing job where we are today, when you see people all around surging, and people again getting more positives. We have been able to remain steady and remain contained and sustained our activities in preventing our coronavirus. So
Thank you.
thank you again,
Right on.
and for this opportunity.
Of course, Gov.
Thanks, Gov.
Thanks for getting up. Love your mask again, and it's been an honor. Let's do it again.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Okay,
Gov.
See you. Wash your hands. Okay, staff. 7:44. We'll take a short break. Come back with Administration Director Edward Byrne. Let me hear it, Bree.
Mr. Ben.
Mr. Ben, right on schedule. A little behind. So we'll get him next right here on the link on the Breeze 93.9. Good morning.
Mount Carmel School offers